We ready?
It's probably no secret that I'm not a fan of the Tom Holland movies. Well, at least I wasn't for the first couple, but now, I am here to tell you guys my thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day. I saw it last night, technically opening night, July 31st, 2026. Saw it with friends, and I saw it with my brother Liam. And I want to give you guys my thoughts the very next day, because I think that the fresher that it is in my mind, the more I can tell you about it. So I'm gonna have a spoiler-free section and then a spoiler section. So non-spoilers, you guys, I think if you're a fan of Spider-Man, you will like this movie. It's very much a Spider-Man story. However, there's not one central comic that this adapts. It is very much a mashup of parts of Spider-Man stories, but it tells a singular Spider-Man story. And I think that the important part going into all of this was all I needed was a good and fun Spider-Man story, and I'd be happy. And I'm happy to say that Tom Holland delivered his best performance as this character. And we got his best movie from him. This is the best Spider-Man movie that we've had since Spider-Man 2. And I am still proud to call myself a fan of this character. And the Punisher is fantastic in this movie. We get some really, really beautiful moments with him. That's all I'll say for the spoiler-free parts of it. And I really think that the antagonist in this movie is pretty solid. I think that they're written very well, and I really understand the motivation. And other than that, I thought that how they incorporated Ned and MJ into the plot of the movie was very, very solid. And I also think that how they put in the Spider-Man references while being kind of on the nose. Like I said, on the Roller Rome cast, it was just gonna be in a montage. And yeah, it was just in a montage. And I didn't mind it, even in the slightest. Now, spoilers for those of you that care about that kind of thing. Spoilers for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I'm going to tell you what I got wrong and what I didn't get wrong. So, couple things first. Daredevil was not in the movie like I thought he was going to be. But that's okay. The movie didn't need him. Another thing that we all got wrong, there was no Man-Spider in this movie. Which, again, was okay. Another thing that we got wrong was that we thought maybe the Scorpion would be the main villain. No. He was like a part of the antagonistic force, but he was not the main villain. The main antagonist of this movie, because I wouldn't call her a villain, was Jean Grey, played by Sadie Sink. And I thought that this new way of them writing Jean was great. I really did. I thought that the way that they wrote Jean, giving her a slightly new version of her origin story, was a really neat twist. I also thought that giving Tom Holland the more emotional moments, like when he thought he was kissing MJ, but it was really just Jean Grey mind warping her, and then like messing with Peter's mind, like bringing out the primal part of him. I thought that was really, really messed up, but some really great acting, both by Zendaya and also by Tom Holland. And another part of this is that Peter gets organic webbing in this movie, and like heightened senses. So they adapt, apart from the comics where this cosmic spider god like basically gives Peter like a power up, but they don't do the cosmic spider god part. They just give he's just some science mumbo jumbo. Peter's like evolving, and he has on an inhibitor for a good part of the movie to nerf his powers, because at first he can't operate because it's like overriding his senses, right? But eventually his body learns to handle the new changes, and he learns how to control his new sense of powers. And so that's the first part of the story, is that Peter's trying to combat his powers while also trying to figure out who's mind warping random New Yorkers and causing havoc around New York. And Punisher is just kind of hanging around at this point, like looking to also stop this person. And so him and Spider-Man kind of reluctantly team up like a third through the film, right? And you get a lot of banter between the two of them, which I think is really cool. And I think it really fits with like what the story was going for. A lot of people seem to forget that Punisher originally debuted in a Spider-Man comic. A lot of people don't seem to really know that, which, you know, is okay. Most people probably don't know that. Even some diehard Spider-Man fans probably don't know that, but Punisher and Spider-Man have a long history. They are friends. They're just like begrudging friends. And so we get some really like tender moments with Punisher, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But Punisher is kind of like acting like Peter's angry uncle throughout this whole thing. And basically, essentially, what happens is Peter learns what happened to Jean Grey, where the Damage Control Task Force takes Sarah Gray and experiments on her and kills her. And Peter, who had been working with the Damage Control Task Force throughout the first 2/3 of the movie, inadvertently at the halfway point, without realizing, actually hands Jean Grey over to the people. And that was their goal the whole time, was to get Spider-Man to hand her over to them. And he puts a power inhibitor on her to stop her from being able to use her powers. And I've seen a lot of reactions to how Spider-Man beats her. And I said it last night, but I was mostly just joking. He does just talk no jutsu her. However, in this case, it makes sense as to why he wouldn't, like, beat the snot out of her. Because Jean's not evil in this movie. She's just looking for her sister. Then when she finds out that she's dead, she would act like how any normal person, mutant or not, would react in that situation. And Peter, who previously in the movie had not let Jean into his mind, allows her to go into his mind, and Aunt May talks to her. And Aunt May tells her that everything is going to be okay, and that she's beautiful the way that she is. And then Aunt May disappears from the bedroom, and then Peter shows up. And Peter talks with Jean Grey. And Jean says, well, even if I change, I have no one. And then Spider-Man, or Peter, says, you have me. And man, that's some good Spider-Man stuff, man. That's some good Spider-Man stuff. I love how Peter acts in this movie. And I love the direction that they went with it. Because a lot of the time, Peter Parker, because of his guilt over Uncle Ben, sometimes decides to go it alone. Because he doesn't want to lose anyone else. And so, he allows his responsibility as Spider-Man to sometimes overtake his responsibility as Peter Parker as well. And a lot of what Dan Slott was trying to accomplish with the Superior Spider-Man arc, or just his arc with Spider-Man in general, when he was writing the character in the comics, Peter spends about 97% of that run in his Spider-Man costume. Now, granted, it's because Dan Slott's not a fan of Peter Parker, but it's still an interesting dichotomy that I think they were eager to adapt in this movie, because Peter is in his costume, like literally hanging out with Ned and MJ in his costume. Like, he goes everywhere in his costume except to talk to Bruce Banner. He goes everywhere in his costume. Everywhere. Which I don't mind, because I think that the suit looks beautiful. It's still not as good as Andrew's suit, but it's beautiful. But another thing is Peter learns through Jean to open himself up, because Jean DeWolf, who I don't think has ever been in a Spider-Man movie before, so that's kind of cool, because the comics killed her off, and then in Spectacular replaced her with Montoya, and then in the Insomniac games she was replaced by Yin. So it's kind of cool to see the OG badass woman cop DeWolf being here. But anyway, so DeWolf and Spider-Man have like a direct line to each other, and she's genuinely worried about him. She like kind of is like a mother to him, kind of, sort of, and she sees that Spider-Man is overworking himself too hard, right? And he's overworking himself while his body is changing, right? And Peter has isolated himself from the world. He's extremely lonely. He has nobody. All he has is Spider-Man. And what this movie does in a very, very beautiful way, it's the inverse of Spider-Man 2 with Tobey. Where in Spider-Man 2, Tobey realizes that he cannot live without his Spider-Man half. And in this movie, Tom Holland's Peter Parker realizes that he can't live without his Peter Parker half. Many superheroes, such as Batman, Moon Knight, the Wolverine, Deadpool, Red Hood, Nightwing, a lot of them, their mask is their true face. They are the hero, and when they're outside of the mask, that's their fake persona. That's who they pretend to be. But Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same person. They're two halves of the same being. And so a lot of the time what happens is, in media, we get one side biased towards the other, whether it be we get more of Peter than Spider-Man, or we get more of Spider-Man than Peter. And what this movie did is it took that idea and it showed us, hey, Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same person and they can coexist. And he learns that by saving Jean Grey. It reminds me a lot of Deku saving Todoroki inadvertently in My Hero Academia during the festival. It reminds me a lot of that, actually, now that I think about it. So, yeah, I mean, I also just want to say Savage Hulk is incredible in that one fight. Like, he's huge, and Punisher basically dips because he doesn't want to fight the Hulk. But that scene is awesome, of Spider-Man fighting Hulk. Yeah, that's really cool. And does he talk no Jutsu Jean Grey? Yes, technically. But then there's a really wholesome scene because Peter gets taken out of the mind trip because Punisher shoots like a sniper shot at Jean, right? But it hits Peter because Peter like takes the shot head on, right? And he wakes up in a hospital, and the city is like pulling for him, and there's a crowd outside of the hospital, and Peter smiles, seeing the impact that he's had on people. And Punisher's like, when you're ready to leave, we'll get you out of here. So he distracts the people by putting on the Spider-Man costume. And it's really funny. And by the way, I just want to say, this movie is hilarious. Spider-Man has a whole bunch of funny quips and like some of his movements, the way that he falls and stuff like that. Like, it's really funny. It's really charming. You have to go watch it. I cannot do it justice. However, Frank being mellow in that moment and being kind is a side of Punisher that if you're a fan of Punisher, you will genuinely appreciate it. And there's a scene that resonated so much with me, and I didn't want to cry in front of my friends, but Peter's standing in the crowd watching Frank, and there's a child who looks directly at Peter and makes the spider symbol, does the little web thwip thing, and Peter does it right back at him. And it made me think to myself, that kid is still me. At heart, I'm still a kid who loves Spider-Man. And this movie just reconfirmed my love for this character. That's what it did. And when times were lowest for me, this character helped me to hang on. And without him, I wouldn't be here right now. And so, that one little scene is exactly how I feel about this character, and why I feel so strongly about it. As a kid, I thought he was awesome. But as an adult, I realized that he saved me. And so, that's why I give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. Because it's just beautiful. There's nothing more that I can say to explain it, except go watch this beautiful movie. I love you all. I'll see you on the next one.